Greetings once again from Radio Wasteland Records in Midland, Michigan. It is time for our weekly check into the highlights of some of the new releases headed to an independent record store near you. As always, just the highlights because there's way too many to cover in just this short video. But if you'd like to see the full list, please head over to our website at radiowastelandrecords.com and click on upcoming releases. Additionally, we will put a link to that page down below in the description, so make sure you check that out when you get a chance. So without further ado, let's dive into the list for Friday, March 3rd, yes, March already, 2023. A few new releases to talk about. First up, this new one from a guy named Macklemore you may have heard of, and the album is entitled Ben. No description to go with this other than just saying it's the upcoming self-titled studio album from Ben Macklemore. So we have got a double LP black vinyl version of this, and there is an indie exclusive version, also double LP. This one is being billed as having an alternate cover, which quite frankly to me looks like almost the same cover, but just a different background to go with it. So either way, the indie exclusive alternate cover is listing for about $30, and the regular black vinyl version, of course I think the indie exclusive is also black vinyl, it doesn't say, but the regular cover version of this also listing for about $30. Next up, an artist I'm not very familiar with by the name of Tove Lo. Looked her up online, and we have got some pop music of the almost auto-tune variety. The name of the album is Dirt Femme, and this one is, according to our description, the 5th studio album from this multi-platinum selling and Grammy Award nominated artist. So Dirt Femme boasts an impressive lineup of special guests on this album, including S.G. Lewis, appearing on 2 tracks, Channel Trey, and First Aid Kit. So this new one, Dirt Femme by Tove Lo, listing for about $30. Something new on the jazz front as well. This is from Kendrick Scott, and the album is called Corridors. Our description says that this is a limited edition 180-gram pressing, and drummer and composer Kendrick Scott returns with the release of Corridors, his 3rd album for Blue Note Records. Our description goes on to say that Corridors unveils an exposed rumination from the Houston-born artist and his acclaimed collaborators, saxophonist Walter Smith and bassist Reuben Rogers. So Corridors from Blue Note Records by Kendrick Scott will list for about $26. Quite a few to go through on the reissue front for the week of the 3rd as well. Here's a big one. It's 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul. 3 different versions of this on vinyl for us to talk about. For those unfamiliar, 3 Feet High and Rising is the debut album by hip-hop trio De La Soul, originally released in 1989. It is listed, by the way, on Rolling Stone's 200 Essential Records and the Source's 100 Best Rap Albums. And it was also listed on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. Sampling artists as diverse as Hall & Oates, Steely Dan, and the Turtles, 3 Feet High and Rising is often viewed as the stylistic beginning of 1990s alternative hip-hop, and especially jazz rap. So we do have 3 different versions of 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul. The first, a double LP on yellow 180-gram vinyl, that one listing for about $39. And then we have a magenta double LP, also 180-gram, listing for $39. And finally, a black vinyl version of this out there as well, also listing for that $39. Now, there's one other De La Soul reissue to be aware of coming down the line. This one scheduled for release on April 7th, but we can look forward to De La Soul is Dead, a reissue coming up in just a couple of months. Also on the reissue front is a pair from Five Finger Death Punch. First up is A Decade of Destruction on Crimson Red vinyl, and we have A Decade of Destruction Volume 2, this one on Cobalt Blue vinyl. Both of them are double LP reissues. The Volume 2 listing for about $36 and Volume 1 also listing for about $36. Now, just because I enjoy the name of this next group, we're going to include this. This is the Hillbilly Moon Explosion and the album By Popular Demand, coming on Coke Bottle Green vinyl. Our description says that this is a smashing reissue of the 2005 album from the Swiss rockabilly revivalists, the Hillbilly Moon Explosion. This one, as we said, on Coke Bottle Green vinyl listing for about $28. A very cool anniversary reissue coming from The Stranglers. This is Feline, a deluxe edition. The description says that this is the expanded 40th anniversary edition, a sensuous and textural departure for the band. This double LP edition features bonus tracks and rarities and is pressed on red and translucent marbled vinyl. This looks to be a double LP set and will list for about $40. From Cleopatra Records, we have got a reissue from the band UFO. This is Walk on Water on clear and blue vinyl. Looks to be an album and a bonus 7-inch included with this. This was the 14th album from the band and marked the return of guitarist extraordinaire Michael Schenker, as well as founding drummer Andy Parker and classic member Paul Raymond. This reissue features digitally remastered audio, plus all new artwork, and a first ever release on vinyl is that bonus 7-inch featuring the band's supercharged recut versions of two of their monster hits, Doctor Doctor and Lights Out. So UFO's Walk on Water listing for about $40. Another one from Cleopatra and Purple Pyramid. Here is Race with the Devil from Black Oak, Arkansas. This is a vinyl reissue of the crucial 1977 album from the Southern Rock Kings, Black Oak. This one listing for about $28. From Proper Records UK, we've got an import version of 10 Years After, limited edition on 180-gram vinyl. This, their debut album, was originally released in October of 1967. And our description says that this reissue faithfully replicates the original 1967 Durham Records UK stereo release and is pressed on high-quality 180-gram vinyl. So 10 Years After, reissue listing for about $39. I believe this next one was a Record Store Day release a couple of years back. We're finally getting a reissue of Kenny Loggins' At the Movies. So this album collects the greatest soundtrack hits on vinyl from Loggins, including Footloose, Playing with the Boys, that one from Top Gun, Danger Zone, you know which one that's from also, and Nobody's Fool, the theme from Caddyshack. This also has a newly recorded version of Playing with the Boys on there as well. So Kenny Loggins' At the Movies coming on red vinyl, listing for about $28. Next up is a trio of Atlantic Records reissues with some of these classic Atlantic labels. First up is Lady Soul by Aretha Franklin coming on silver-colored vinyl. This one, as we mentioned, with that classic Atlantic label, listing for about $25. You can also look forward to First Take from Roberta Flack, limited edition, also on silver vinyl. This one listing for $25. And Dusty Springfield's Dusty in Memphis, also on silver vinyl. This one listing for $25 as well. On the jazz front, we've got a reissue coming from Don Cherry. This is Here and Now. Our description says that after bursting onto the scene with Ornette Coleman, trumpeter Don Cherry went on to make some of the most interesting and collectible albums in modern jazz. So Here and Now, originally released in 1977, getting a reissue from Real Gone Music, this one listing for about $32. On the bluesy side, we've got one coming from John Lee Hooker. This is the Country Blues of John Lee Hooker. The label is Destination Moon for this one. Originally released in 1959, Mississippi-born blues giant John Lee Hooker made his name with an unorthodox approach to electric guitar, developing his own variants of boogie-woogie, Delta blues, and in this case, country blues. So the reissue of The Country Blues of John Lee Hooker, listing for about $26. A couple of live ones to wrap us up for release on the 3rd of March. First up is Can't Stop Loving New Orleans, live at the Warehouse from January 3rd of 1970. This is Fleetwood Mac, and the audio for this coming from an FM broadcast, so not quite bootleg style audio, but hopefully something a little bit better, because had to be a little bit better for the FM. Two versions of this. We're looking at a yellow splatter vinyl, that one listing for about $30, and a regular black vinyl version as well, listing for $28. So now, by the way, this is going to be the early Fleetwood Mac. We're talking the bluesy Fleetwood Mac, so don't get that confused with the more poppy side a little bit later on. And then speaking of broadcasts, here is a big one from Genesis. This is an album called BBC Broadcasts. It is a triple LP from Genesis. Our description says that BBC Broadcasts is an extensive collection of broadcast material from one of the biggest selling recording artists of all time and one of Britain's most internationally renowned bands. Curated by founding member Tony Banks and the group's longtime engineer and producer Nick Davis, this is available now as a 24-track triple LP. So these collections represent the cream of the group's work recorded by the BBC between 1970 and 1998. And it includes contributions from all three of the group's vocalists, Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, and Ray Wilson. So this triple album is also packaged with a 40-page booklet. The description goes on to say, with only a handful of these tracks previously officially available, meaning They have been bootlegged before, but now officially, BBC Broadcasts acts as both a collector's cornucopia and alternate greatest hits stretching from the beginnings of the band's career via appearances on Night Ride and John Peel. This also includes the group's Nebworth performances in 78 and 92, as well as their much-loved 1980 show at London's Lyceum, and the triumphant sellout return at Wembley in 1987. So this huge set triple album from Genesis, full of live stuff from the 70s through the 90s, listing not too bad for a triple LP, coming in at a suggested retail price of about $60. And that is a quick check of some of the new releases headed our way for Friday, March 3rd, 2023. If you're local here in the Midland, Michigan area, stop on by the store or contact us, and we can put in a pre-order for you on just about anything. Not local, not a problem. Head over to our website at radiowastelandrecords.com, and from there you can look through all of the new releases and place some pre-orders through there as well. Also, don't forget to look down in the description below for links to our website, and it'll take you right to that page as we mentioned. So that is it from the Wasteland. We will talk to you again next week. Thanks a lot for watching. Not much of a description on this one, other than it's the new studio album, self-titled, from Macklemore. How is that self-titled? Is his name Ben Macklemore?
I don't know.
Probably should figure that out.